more gently. Caitlin Clark's coach needs to be cognizant of how she talks to her in public.
Meaning black ladies. The Cynthia Acho. Make no mistake about it, at least the modern day, the one telling you it's right. I'm not talking to you, man. Top pick, you coming into the league thinking you all that, they're going to humble you. They're going to show you got to earn your stripes. Ain't nothing given. But suddenly you want to praise her ad nauseam. So I get where Emmanuel Acho is coming from. That's what they're going to do. Doubt me if you want to. I'm not.
Let's start with the actual quote everybody's reacting to. Emmanuel Acho saying, "The W at this junction in time would be better without Caitlin Clark because she is a bigger distraction than she is an additive." That's not a paraphrase. That's not a clip taken out of context. That's Acho's real position on his own podcast, and it's exactly as bold as it sounds.
Clark, at least last year, we saw with our own two eyes the level of resentment and hostility. That's not because of Caitlin Clark. That's because of the people out there celebrating her and ignoring the people who did what Caitlin Clark did for the league before Caitlin Clark arrived. But suddenly you want to praise her ad nauseum. That is what has annoyed people. That is what has gotten on their last nerves. Because if you've been pounding the pavement and doing all of this to build the sport all of these years, and then
his actual argument is that Clark got the league over the necessary threshold, and now that the eyes are on the league, talent like Olivia Miles, Paige Buchers, and Kelsey Mitchell can carry it from here. Thank you, Caitlin. We can take it from here. I get the basketball logic he's reaching for, but that's a wild thing to say about a 24-year-old who hasn't even hit her prime yet.
Business. If Caitlin Clark is not available, she's missed more games due to injury, 33, than games she's played in, which is 30, since the start of last season. That's not good for business. And you got people that have, they're not jealous of her from the standpoint of thinking that she could do things they can't do. The resentment towards Caitlin Clark emanates from the...
And then he goes further. Unless we can take off our gloves for Caitlin Clark and stop trying to act like she's a messiah, the WNBA could and would be better off without her. Stephen A's reaction to that is exactly right. Acho sounds insane. Absolutely, positively insane. And he says it affectionately, respecting Acho as smart and thoughtful. Just completely wrong on this specific take.
Now you got white folks out there that'll be like, we don't want to hear that. Because black folks have been celebrated all the time. Not really realizing and appreciating the arduous path they had to go through before appreciation arrived. So I get where Emmanuel Acho is coming from.
Here's the receipt that actually settles this argument. Clark is the cash cow, full stop. 2 weeks after she enters the league, the WNBA gets chartered flights after years of flying commercial. Standard salaries range from $100,000 to maybe $300,000 if you're lucky, and Clark is pulling in over $16 million once you count endorsements. That's not a close comparison. That's a different universe of value.
So I get where Emmanuel Acho is coming from. The only reason why I said he's insane is because WNBA ain't better off without Caitlin Clark. Let her leave. Let her sit up there and say, I'm tired of this. I don't want to play basketball anymore. I'm leaving the sport. Watch what happens to her. I promise you, you're going to have a whole bunch of people that's going to resent it out there. It's going to affect television ratings. It's going to affect...
Now, to be fair to the larger conversation here, Stephen A makes a point of saying Clark didn't build the WNBA. It was built on the backs of the players who came before her, and he specifically names Cynthia Cooper, Cheryl Swoops, Lisa Leslie, Maya Moore, Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu. That's an important, accurate acknowledgement, and it's worth sitting with instead of skipping past it.
Caitlin Clark is a cash cow. If Juju Watkins comes back healthy for USC, wait till you see the show she's going to put on. And wait till you see what she's going to do on the WNBA level. This girl is a showstopper. I got news for you. As long as Caitlin Clark can ball, Caitlin Clark ain't going nowhere.
And he doesn't skip Aja Wilson either. Flat out calls her the modern-day GOAT, a 3-time champion. She is all that. But then he draws the line that matters. The money, the ratings, the collective bargaining agreement that just got signed. All of that came after Clark arrived. Both things can be true at once. And that's the nuance Acho's take completely skips over.
Basketball play that ultimately led to her being suspended for a game, etc. Emmanuel Acho had this to say. Listen to what he had to say here.
The W at this junction in time would be better without Caitlin Clark because she is a bigger distraction than she is an additive. Caitlin Clark has gotten the WNBA over the necessary threshold they needed. Now people are watching. Now we realize, oh, there's talent in the W. Talent that's actually even greater than Caitlin Clark. And I'm not just talking about bigs like Asia. I'm talking about the Olivia Miles. I'm talking about the Paige Beckers. Hell, I'm talking about the Kelsey Mitchells. Caitlin got the necessary eyes there. But now that the eyes are there, we don't necessarily need her anymore.
This is where the conversation gets genuinely uncomfortable, and Stephen A. knows it. Bringing up Cooper Flagg as another example, saying being white doesn't hurt your marketability alongside elite talent. He's explicit that he's not talking about Acho specifically here. He's talking about America in general, and he wants people to sit with that discomfort rather than dismiss it outright.
Caitlin Clark did not build the WNBA. The WNBA was built on the backs of many people who came before Caitlin Clark, most of them being sisters, meaning black ladies. The Cynthia Coopers, the Cheryl Swoops of the world, the Lisa Leslies of the world, the Maya Moores of the world. List goes on and on. Don't get me wrong. I ain't forget Diana Taurasi, one of the GOATs. I ain't forget about her. I ain't forget about Sue Bird. I ain't forget about Breonna Stewart. I certainly ain't going to forget about Sabrina Ionescu. I'm not going to forget about...
When white folks catch a cold, black folks catch pneumonia. That's the line he leans on to make his larger point about opportunity and marketability in this country. He's careful to immediately follow that up, saying this doesn't mean society is racist, that most people are just God-fearing American citizens trying to live their lives, and that real progress has been made even while these dynamics persist. That's a more careful, layered take than the soundbite alone suggests.
Business. If Caitlin Clark is not available, she's missed more games due to injury, 33, than games she's played in, which is 30, since the start of last season. That's not good for business. And you got people that have, they're not jealous of her from the standpoint of thinking that she could do things they can't do. The resentment towards Caitlin Clark emanates from the...
His actual thesis lands here. If you are gifted and white, you are more marketable than somebody who is gifted and of another ethnicity. It's just the truth. Whether or not you agree with how he frames it, he's not saying black athletes can't be marketable too. He immediately clarifies that, and he predicts Clark isn't going anywhere as long as she can still play, alongside naming Juju Watkins as the next player who's going to be a showstopper at this level.
After Caitlin Clark arrived. See, at some point in time, we got to accept what America is. I'm not telling you it's right. I'm not talking to Emmanuel Acho here. I'm just talking in general, because I know he knows. But as a people, as American citizens, we got to embrace what is just as much as we're willing to embrace what should be. Idealism, there's nothing wrong with holding on to it, wishing it will occur.
Here's a stat that deserves way more attention in this entire conversation. Clark has reportedly missed more games to injury than she's played since the start of last season, somewhere in the range of 33 missed to 30 played. That's not good for business, and honestly, that's probably the most concrete, defensible part of Acho's entire argument, even if Stephen A. still lands on disagreeing with the overall take.
With his boys, want you to hear what he had to say about WNBA star Caitlin Clark and her presence within the WNBA. This is all in the aftermath of Alyssa Thomas getting suspended for a game after putting her fist to the.
And this is the part I think gets lost in every version of this discourse. The resentment isn't really about jealousy of what Clark can do on the court. Every rookie who comes in as the top pick gets tested, gets humbled, has to earn their stripes. That's just competition, and it happens to everybody, as Chennedy Carter has said herself on this exact show.
And people that I know of their age and ilk and before them have religiously reminded me, no matter how bad times are now, it was worse before. So don't you let them fool you and act like progress hasn't been made. As disgusting as things can be sometimes, progress has been made. But it's still America. And if you are gifted and white, you are more marketable than somebody who is gifted.
But Stephen A's actual conclusion is the sharpest part of this whole segment. The resentment isn't really about Caitlin Clark at all. She's a symptom of the bigger problem, which is a society that's quick to celebrate anybody remotely great who happens to be white, without always appreciating the much longer, harder road other great players had to walk to get that same recognition. That's a heavier point than the league is better without her, and it deserved more attention than Acho's headline-grabbing quote got.
That's not to imply that black folks ain't going to be marketable too. But you best believe those white folks are going to be marketable. Caitlin Clark is a cash cow. If Juju Watkins comes back healthy for USC, wait till you see the show she's going to put on. And wait till you see what she's going to do on the WNBA level. This girl is a showstopper. I got news for you. As long as Caitlin Clark can ball, Caitlin Clark ain't going nowhere. She going to be somebody that's even more marketable. Let me throw out this stat to you so I make sure that you know it. Did you know this? Because it's